Well, good morning. Are you ready for your reading lesson today? All right, let's go ahead and it's a skill station day, so we do not have your reader today. We only have your work text. So if you want to go ahead and get your work text out and turn to page 224. All right, as you can see today, we're going to be talking about the Pony Express, which is great. This is talking about the time period that we've been learning about in heritage studies. All right. Now today, in today's time, we've got well-maintained highways all across the United States, hotels, restaurants scattered everywhere. But in the 1860s, the riders of the Pony Express rode through little more than wild country. Listen to find out what the trails were like. Right from the start, the Pony Express route posed obstacles for both horse and rider. It all started easily enough for Jim Randall. On the evening of April 3rd, 1860, at the San Francisco Pony Express office, he placed a mochila over his saddle, jumped on, and galloped away. A mochila was a specially made leather covering that fit over a saddle. A mochila had 4 pouches in which the mail was carried. Crowds cheered for Jim Randall, but his ride was only to the wharf where he boarded a steamer for a placid boat ride to Sacramento. The other eastbound riders had their work cut out for them, though. A 2-day rain had churned the trails into mud, and up to 30-foot snowdrifts threatened to block the path over the Sierra Nevada mountains. Once these obstacles were overcome, there were still the dangers of darkness, the desert, and ambush to face before the eastbound riders safely delivered their mochila of mail. While eastbound riders were racing from California toward the halfway point in Wyoming, another team of riders began in St. Joseph, Missouri, relaying their mochila of mail westward. Johnny Frey, the first westbound rider, took a quiet ferryboat ride from St. Joseph across the Missouri River, but then the ride began in earnest. As with the eastbound riders, obstacles threatened to doom the express to failure. Miles of mud, flooded creeks, wolves, buffalo stampedes, ambush, and horses unaccustomed to the wilderness slowed the riders' progress. But in the end, both teams of riders delivered their mail to the halfway point in Wyoming. The first express run was a success. In less than 10 days, mail from California reached the east, and letters from the east were opened in California. In spite of all the risk and dangers, the Pony Express accomplished its 2 purposes. It affirmed that there was a usable year-round route over the Rocky Mountains, and it helped to keep California in the Union. Now, name some of the dangers that threatened to stop the Pony Express. What were some of the dangers? Ambushes, rain and bad weather, wolves, buffalo stampedes. Why did the Pony Express persist in spite of all the obstacles? Well, it proved that there was a year-round route to California. They no longer had to wait through the wintertime for the spring so they could get through. They could go anytime they wanted to because they found a route that they could get through even in the snow. And it helped to keep California in the Union. Would you be willing to risk danger to help preserve the United States? That's a lot to ask, isn't it? Now, westbound mail, that means mail that was coming from here to this way. It was going west. It passed through places with colorful names like Wildcat Mountain or Lodgepole Valley, or Courthouse Rock, and Hangtown Gulch. How do you think these places got their unusual names? Maybe this was a place where a lot of wildcats were. Maybe this was a valley where there was a pole where you could put your horse up and take a rest, maybe. Maybe this was a place where you could lay out on a rock. Maybe this was a place where they hung people. They hanged people maybe. I don't know how these places got their names. Now I want you to take a look right quick at the word wildcat, lodgepole, courthouse, and hangtown. These words are called compound words. Notice that one word of each compound is pronounced with a stronger emphasis or accent than the other word. So do you see this right here, and this right here, and this right here, and this right here? This is called an accent mark. It's the primary accent. When you say a word and it's a compound word, almost always the first part is the one that you say the loudest. So let's say westbound. Ready? Westbound. Just say it normally. Westbound. Do you hear west is the loudest syllable? Let's say wildcat. Ready? Wildcat. Wildcat. Lodgepole. Courthouse. Hangtown. See how we always say these louder? So that means the first word in the compound word always receives the primary accent. Okay? Now, do you also see where each of the words are divided? They're divided right between the two words. Because remember, a compound word is two words put together to make one word. Right? Now, the stronger accent is the primary accent. Now, the secondary accent is the one that's not as loud. Wildcat, lodgepole, courthouse. So this has the secondary accent because it's not as loud as the first accent. Okay, now let's look at, let's see, we've got the last three, lodgepole, courthouse, and hangtown. Now look at these. Cottonwood, rattlesnake, black saddle. What's so different about these? They've got 3 syllables. Cottonwood. Now that's a compound word because cotton is one word and wood is one word. So you put it together and you still have a compound word, but the first word has its own syllable. Because remember last week we talked about dividing between the two consonants that are the same. Okay, you see, and the very first part, the very first syllable has the primary accent. Cottonwood, rattlesnake, black saddle. Now this one, the last word here is the one that's divided into. You see that? All right. Now one of these base words have 2, cotton, rattle, and saddle. Those have 2 syllables each. So always make sure you're very careful on those compound words. Don't just divide them between the words. You got to check each word and see if the words need to be, if they have a spot between them. All right, let's look at our work text page. Look at page 224. 224. Now, we're going to circle the compound words in these sentences. The westbound rider mounted the buckskin pony. What are the 2 compound words in that? Westbound and buckskin. So circle those. Okay, what about sagebrush and greasewood shrubs dotted the drifting sand? Okay, what about sagebrush and greasewood? Okay, those are compound words. Okay, although threatened by rattlesnakes, the pony and rider pressed on. Rattlesnakes is the compound word there. Even a heavy thunderstorm did not stop their progress. Thunderstorm. Very good. Okay, we're going to go ahead and change over. This was from yesterday, so we need to delete that. And then I need to bring this up here. All right. Now I'm going to help you with this part. Now let's look where it says divide and mark. It says to write the compound words from the sentences above and divide the words into syllables. Then show the primary and secondary accents. Okay, the first compound word up at the top was westbound, right? Okay, so let's write that. That's a compound. West bound. Now, I don't know how to make a dot in mine, so I'm just going to put a period because I don't know how to do that. And I need to make this a little bigger. Okay, westbound. Now, west is the first syllable, so it receives the accent mark, the primary accent mark. The second one receives the secondary accent mark. Westbound. So that's how you're going to write them, okay? So go ahead and pause it as you finish number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 and write your words the way they're supposed to be, divided, and put the syllable mark. All right, let's check and make sure. Did you do buckskin like this? And sagebrush. Whoop. And greasewood. And what about rattlesnakes? Did you get that one? Remember how I told you to do that one? Okay, good. All right, let's see. Let's see. Let's do the last one if I can fit it in here. Woo! We're going to have to bring this up, aren't we? Here we go. Wow, what about that one? Thunderstorm, rattlesnakes. See, these are compound words, but the base word in them also has a syllable. You have to be careful with those. All right, let's look at the think and write. Use the words above to answer the questions. Right, number 1, what word describes a horse or pony that's colored much like a deer? That would be a buckskin. Write the word buckskin there. Number 2, what is the name of a low bush that smells like a spice? Be sagebrush. Okay. And number 3, which word is used to show the direction the writer was heading? Did you get westbound? Okay, westbound. Very good. All right, look at page 225. Now, this says, at the very top, it says to read the story and then find and circle 10 more compound words. For each compound word, color orange the base word with a primary accent and color yellow the base word with a secondary accent. Now, the first one was done for you. You see strawberry, the first word that has the primary accent, they colored orange. And the second one, they colored yellow. Okay? So I would like for you, actually, I don't know if you need to, the orange for each compound word. Color yellow the base word with a secondary accent. Color yellow. Oh, I see. If it has, you're going to circle, you're going to read this story yourself. It's called Stops on the Go. And you're going to read this to yourself. All of the compound words you come to, circle them. Okay? I don't really know how the instructions are not making sense to me. If it's like strawberry, see how the berry, you would divide it between the two R's, okay? If any of your words would divide, the base words would divide again, then highlight those yellow, okay? So if you don't understand what I mean, just circle the compound words. That's the main thing, okay? And then I'd like for you to answer number 1 and number 2 after you read this. Now, I'm going to have you pause it because I'm going to make sure and help you when you're finished, kind of go over it with you to make sure you did right, okay? All right, so just circle, after you read it, circle all the compound words. Don't worry about highlighting anything because the instructions are kind of weird. So just circle the compound words, okay? All right, go ahead and pause it and read and circle the compound words. All right, did you finish reading it? All right, did you circle Overland, where it says Central Overland Pony? Did you circle Overland? What about Stagecoach? Did you circle Strawberry? What about Overnight? Did you circle Stillwater? What about Campfires? Okay, what about Lodgepole? Did you circle Springtime? What about Sometimes? Did you circle Daylight? Those are all the compound words. There would have been 10 of them. 10 that you should have circled. All right, did you do the thinking right at the bottom? If you did, I'm going to go ahead and go over the answers with you. If you didn't, I'm not grading this page, but I do want to see and make sure you got everything right. Now, you can go ahead and pause it and finish number 1 and 2 if you haven't done that yet. All right, on number 1, did you write Quaking Aspen Bottom? On number 2, did you write Rush Creek and Pumpkin Creek? All right, I hope you got those right. All right, good deal. Well, that will be all your lesson for today.